I'm Kathy Johnson, and welcome to Town Talk. Today I have a guest who has come back for a second time. I think we're going to be seeing Aisha Ali Khan Durrani for many times to come. I find her to be a very compelling and interesting guest with many topics and a wide range of knowledge. I have dubbed her our Renaissance woman, and Aisha, pleased to have you back again for a second time.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Kathy.
Well, Aisha shared something with me, but I'm going to have her share it right now or enlighten the audience. You had a surprise guest in Ansonia,
Yes,
did you not?
Did. Yes, I did.
And
Congresswoman Rosa Durrani.
Deloro. Okay. Now I'm going to ask my producer Wayne if he'll see if he can hone in on the picture on a cell phone of Aisha and Rosa. Let's see. Let's try it.
I'll show it again.
Yep.
We had a selfie together. She came by to see me. She's one of the most strong, most powerful, most wonderful women I've ever met.
And let's see if you can get it. He hasn't. Can you go do that? Oh, I don't think we're going to be able to see it. Isn't it there?
It'll pop up in a second.
It'll pop up in a second. Okay.
There it is.
All right.
Is it visible?
No, it's not visible, unfortunately.
Okay.
Well, we tried. We tried. Suffice to say, she came to your door and you had your picture taken.
Right. I had my picture taken with her, a selfie.
Yes.
And it was very wonderful. When she walked up, I said, "Wow, I can't believe it. It's Rosa Deloro visiting me." And she came in, and I got a hug from her and reassurance from her. And it was just so wonderful. She, and I let her in on a story too that she's aware of. I've been contacting Rosa's office for quite some time.
So she knows of you?
She knows of me, and she was ecstatic and very happy when I told her about the story about my husband coming over from Pakistan and giving me two beautiful kids,
right?
And a beautiful, way of looking at life and energetic, and he's helped me tremendously. My husband, Mohammed Ali Khan Durrani, wonderful man, And I told Rosa, I owe it all to you. And I was just, awing her and putting her on a pedestal for everything she's done for me and my family. And yes.
Yes. I am so happy to hear this. Do you want to tell us how Rosa helped you?
Well, I just did. She helped me by, sponsoring my husband.
Yes.
Through the Pakistani embassy.
Oh, okay.
So, once her letters went to the embassy, my husband was able to come here.
Right.
So that's the biggest thing she did for me. She, advocated would be the better word.
She was your advocate to come to this country.
My husband.
Your husband first?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. My husband first.
Okay.
I came here in the States, now that you wanted to know a little bit more about that.
Sure.
I came here when I was about 5.5, 6 years old. I immigrated from Pakistan, saw a little bit of the Islamic world before coming here, into Saudi and Libya. Saw a little bit of the Islamic world, then ended up here. And we talked about that before too. So that was a very, very, extraordinary thing for me, flying over with my parents, and my brother, like I said, was born here. But Rosa Deloro advocated for my husband to come here from Pakistan.
Wonderful.
And that's when I told her the whole story. I told her that, you were responsible for that because I wrote to you and you wrote back, and I have your letter saved and everything, and this is what you did for me. And she said, "Oh, wow, Aisha." She gave me a kiss, she gave me a hug, and then she took a selfie with me. And she was saying that was wonderful, that she helped. It was a moment of, wonder and so much, you know, excitement at the same time that I couldn't believe, you know, there she is. So that was good.
That was a good thing.
It was an extraordinary thing, and I'm really, you know, happy that she, you know, did this for me and my family. And I think that, you know, she's a great congresswoman. She's been very strong in the community. She's wonderful, and she's just, you know, she's out there, and it's great.
I've known her for years. I've met her several times through my political activism, and she's always been a person who cared for those in need. Very helpful, very much for the least among us, and very much loved in New Haven. I believe that she came from an Italian community in New Haven. Is that not correct?
Absolutely, that's wonderful. Now that you touch base about political parties, I'd like to see if I can, you know, one day run for office as a Pakistani Muslim woman in the States. I would be completely honored by this.
Well, and yes, and moreover, you immigrated to this country, and
Absolutely.
you have, at 5 years old, and you have embraced our country.
Absolutely.
I know you have.
Absolutely.
Because I think in our last show you mentioned how you even were educated at St. Joseph's High School.
Yes, I was educated at St. Joseph's High School, and I did college, and I studied a lot of different things like philosophy,
Right.
You know, history, also, you know, as far as Chinese history too. I mean, I'm really something for education, and we talked about that too, and that's something, I think that's something that's wonderful, and I think that it'll help me, you know, stimulate my mind to go into these, you know, political offices or that sort of thing, and I do want to get on the committee, see what I can do as a Muslim woman here, and you said that you have prior knowledge and history of this.
Oh yes,
So
well, being in politics for there's it's small, granted small time politics, but it's politics.
But
Yes,
politics nonetheless.
Yes.
It's, you know, we start big and then the small people are doing all the work. I think
Aisha,
from that point.
what I see in you is, and many times we hear people say, well, people who come to this country don't want to assimilate. Well, I see that you want to be part of the political atmosphere. You
Now-
want to be part of the country and assimilate.
Now, when you say that, Kathy, I look at the highlighted and the more sophisticated, more good facilities out there, meaning the libraries. The libraries, I start at the libraries, I start at the schools,
Yes,
and
yes.
I also start with, you know, your TV studios here as we speak,
Right,
and
right.
radio stations. I love to write. I
Right.
brought in my stuff last time and read some stuff for you guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, and
That's right.
I think that acceleration in that way in America is always good, an educated one. Now, when we talk about those people who might not want to assimilate, maybe they're not as educated to know that, then they'll look at the things that are a little bit more downplayed, like maybe some of the things that are out there that might not be good for other countries to assimilate with. But then again, that's in every country.
Well, you make a good point there. Let me dovetail off of that.
Yeah.
One of the ways to assimilate, and of course you have done this, and you were fortunate to come here young.
Yes.
You made it your business to learn the English language.
Absolutely, and a very
You
good
had
one.
to.
I had wonderful teachers who really, you know, gave
Sure.
me the spin to want to do those things, and I really enjoyed it. Like on Friday, I tried to finish my homework first and then start the weekend, you know?
Sure.
School came first.
Of course.
Make sure that, you know, do the best you can. And go to college and learn and know this world. And I
Sir-
think that you need that sort of brain to get into politics and to understand
Absolutely.
the world, because that's what we're here to decipher, is this one world we're all living in. And I like the statement you had made off camera about us, you know, all of us being human. At the
We're
end
all
of the
of
day,
the
we're all
human
human.
race.
We're all human.
We have that
Yeah.
one common ground.
Yes.
That we are human.
Yes, and what more than that?
Oh,
what more than that?
that?
What more than that, Kathy?
Absolutely, Aisha. And you see, you like my immigrant grandparents
Yes.
that came here.
Yes.
And like my mother and my father, who were first generation, their first language was My mother Greek, my father Italian. They went to kindergarten only speaking that language. They didn't give them special classes to help them move along, which would have been nice and helpful to them. But maybe sometimes those crutches get carried on, and sometimes you need to really be forced to learn, because if you can't speak the language of the people, you're always going to be behind.
Right.
I'm sure you didn't have a special
isolate you.
That's right. I'm sure you didn't have somebody that was teaching you in Farsi at the regular schools and learning English at the same time. I'm sure you could have taken a course that did that. But in your school at St. Joseph's or your grammar school, did you have that in the school?
Earlier on, when I first came here, I had a little bit of best of two worlds.
Good.
So I spoke not so Farsi. We have Urdu from Pakistan.
Oh,
Farsi's
Farsi's
up in the more so.
Okay, so there's two languages. I always usually think of Farsi. Yes.
These are dialects. Like, you have English, but then there's Ebonics. Then Ebonics is going to be becoming, if it already hasn't, a language here.
Okay.
So, but anyway, it's like dialects. A little bit of Spanish, but Spanish is totally
Italy has them.
Right, right. Yeah. Almost every country, even Spanish countries, almost every
we have
country
the
has
southern,
that. Right. Yeah, you've got the south going on, you've got the north going on. So but I came in speaking very good Urdu, enough to
What's
know
your
myself.
language again? Say it.
Urdu, U-R-D-U, Urdu, and it's a fascinating language when it comes to poetry.
Oh, I
Over
bet
at Fordham. Over at Fordham, they were teaching the local natives of this country Urdu just for
the poetry
appreciation.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay,
so we do
Urdu.
have that too.
Okay, so then
we do have it. I can write it in English numerals, but not the calligraphy that my mother is able to do. So and at the same time, cousins were already living here that sponsored us and helped us come over.
Right.
So they were already speaking English because they were here for a good,
So there
5
you
to 7.
go.
Right. So and then I had best of both worlds. At home, I got to speak Urdu, but slowly by slowly, I was picking up the English language, and I had to go to school tomorrow to communicate with the teacher and to communicate with the other students.
Sure. Your English is impeccable.
Thank you.
Your grammar is honestly.
Thank you.
Honestly.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And that is a really good compliment, and it's a really good thing to have, because English is the language of the world. English is the international language.
Yes.
It right now it is. Yes, it is. It is. To communicate with somebody, you can even say, let's just pick, let's say Saudi Arabia, Arabic speaking. You want to communicate with them, you can communicate with them in English. Go to Dubai, we have.
That's right.
Right. So, that's the thing. So English is the primary language of the world.
It is. Spanish and Chinese are coming along.
They're runners up.
They're runners up.
Yeah.
They're with a lot to do business and things like that.
Right.
Which my aunt was taught Spanish. She taught English and Spanish, and she could speak Greek. So. But anyway, so that is an interesting story about you. I am very happy always to have you, our second show, because you have a lot to offer and an interesting conversation. So there was a woman with Rosa DeLauro. She's running for state rep in the Ansonia area. Right?
Cara?
Rochelle?
Yeah.
Cara Rochelle. Now, I don't know a lot about Cara. I would assume she's a Democrat, yes.
I didn't know much about her either, but when she came in, she snapped the selfie with me and Rosa DeLauro. I'm like, what am I going to get my selfie? I was so ecstatic.
How did you find her?
I found her as a very honest, a very nice, lady who's running for office.
Is she young? Is she?
She's, you could say she's fairly young.
Yeah, up and coming.
Yeah, up and coming.
Yes, great. Because Rosa's been. Rosa is.
She did say if I want to help her on the campaign, I could. So that's I'm going to get back to her for email. I have her card. It's not with me now, but I think I should speak with her, and I think that maybe there might be a space for me sometime later on for this, and I think it's going to be fabulous. Yes.
It's always in any party, Democrats, Republicans, anybody running for office, as I did twice in my life.
Right.
Or so.
Right.
Look,
tell me about that, if you don't mind me.
Well,
breaking
I will.
in here.
I will.
Yeah, right.
We are so appreciative of people who donate their time, because the only way you can win an election is phone calls, door knocking, and being accessible to the
And
public.
persistent.
And persistent.
And persistent, strong, good moral character.
Yes.
Good understanding
Yes.
of people.
Yes.
People's psychology. People to, well, yeah, because you want to, get them into voting for you. Do you want us to do something for taxes? Do you want us to do something for jobs? And these are the psychological
right.
things that everybody goes through.
Well, you asked me, and I'm not here to talk about me, but and I can talk about me all day,
Right.
because of my personality.
Okay.
To the point where you'll take your microphone off and leave.
No,
but
no,
I won't do
Kathy,
that.
It's always a pleasure
No,
sitting
thank
here with you.
But
let us know a little bit about how you got in and how you ran.
All right. Let me tell you first of all, you can never make a mistake politically if you, one, speak from your heart.
Absolutely.
Number two, when you speak and you're speaking from your heart, you are not worried about how you're going to win the next election. You worry about how you are going to win that election because your motives are good and you want what's good for the citizens. And naturally you want to win, but you don't want to win and sell your soul at any expense. In other words, once you get a taste of being an elected official, even in a tiny town, it is an aphrodisiac power. People can't let go of that power, so they start to sell themselves short because, oh, well, if I say this, I won't get the votes there. If I say that, sometimes you have to decide you're going to be an only one-term politician in order to do something good that you might be able to be put in place for then that could stay in place, something permanent that can help your town or your country.
Yes. Now, I can understand that, and I guess I can live with that. I'd love to go in and be empowered and serve my term, however long it is, and help the people of Connecticut or the people in the valley and things of that sort. And I think it'll be it's really going to be worthwhile.
Absolutely.
And we'll look into a committee. And
I'll tell you what to do, but but right now you know Rosa DeLauro.
Yes,
You've
I
met
do.
this young lady. She's in your district.
Yes.
Go and start making phone calls for her. Yes. Get involved.
Right, get up on the committee with that.
But one thing I would tell you, if you're going to enter politics, and this is my last phrase because I can do a one-woman show all by myself.
Yes.
If you're going to enter politics, understand that politicians cannot get as many things done as they really want to. It's
understandable.
It's an activist that gets it done. Activists are more, a true activist can put pressure on a politician and change the view of things by their sheer numbers and push the politician to maybe see their point of view and give them a comfort level that, yes, there is a majority, only depending on if the politician believes it in their heart and thinks it's right. Then they have to explain why it's wrong. So I, in a way, am more of an activist than I really am a politician. Politicians hate when they have hundreds of people in front of them in a room, putting their feet to the fire and holding them accountable. That makes them uncomfortable, but it also makes them have to listen. Now, that's enough about me, but that's my advice to you if you want to go into politics and you want to do some good.
Yes.
It is not an easy way to do good because, especially in political parties, because there's pushes and pulls, you'll find your way. But if you speak from your heart and you have a moral compass and your motives are good, you'll be okay.
I think that's said for anything, really.
True.
Yes, and I think that's wonderful. And, that's something to look forward to and to look into at one point or so. And
but let me ask you, you are in a unique place at a unique time. It's as if the planets lined up for you. Okay? Yes. Sometimes that happens in the universe.
Yes.
You are a Muslim woman.
Yes.
You are have assimilated into the United States of America. You have learned our language. You have grown up here. You have not turned your back on your on Islam, your faith. You love your country. You want to give back to your country, and here you are. You are a perfect example of the fact that it doesn't matter what title you are, what race you are, what sex you are of the human race first who wants to do good. I am so pleased you picked my show. Thank you.
It's an honor to be on your show. It's very thought-provoking and insightful, intellectual, friendly.
Thank you.
And great advice.
Yeah, but I have a great guest here today. That helps. Now
Thank
that
you.
we belong to a mutual admiration society here,
Absolutely.
Aisha, that's great.
Absolutely.
But, so Aisha, you have political aspirations, and I think that is wonderful.
Right.
And you've come. You're in this country at the right time and right place. I mean, we're always struggling. The races are struggling.
Thank you. I feel honored when you say this.
Well, thank you. Look, we women still struggle. Men have their struggles. I mean, we have sons, we have husbands, we have fathers. Men have their brothers. Men have their struggles too. We shouldn't dismiss the struggles that men have also. But, you know, we have voices out there that are passionate about their one thing. What is your passion? Do you have a particular passion or many?
Let me say multiple passions. I like to write. I like to sing. I enjoy politics, a good movie, good music, radio stations, libraries, and just taking it easy, and also, more above all, taking care of my kids and my husband. I want to educate those two.
Well,
I want to get them.
That's your first priority.
Yes. Last but not least.
And how, as a woman, they used to say to me when I was a child of the 60s, when the women's liberation movement came about. Of course, I never thought of myself as anything less than who I am. No one told me as a woman that I couldn't do anything. I grew up that way. But at any rate, women were starting to come out of their shells and wanting more. But they did give up a certain amount of prices of homes went up because they got wise. There were two paychecks coming in. Women wanted to be in the workplace. How do you see that with raising children and being in politics, and how do you handle that? Because as women, as women, there's that bond. A woman and her child is like a mother bear with her cub. How do you handle that?
Oh, very nice. Well, I believe that you can say rearing children in America is what you wanted to know, and how women fit into the society.
Yes.
How you can balance the two. Well, again, I think back to last show a little bit, and a little bit I start to feel that women, to me, it's a woman's world. It always has been. Yes, it always has been. Because then we go back to the Garden of Eden and how we were released due to a woman, how we come into this world due to a woman, how we are educated due to a woman. I think women are very important. When I educate my children in that sense, professors, teachers, and things of that nature. So that's how you view it. How I view it.
Many will say that's too religious. Atheists would not buy that. What say you to that?
Well, atheists, I think to be an atheist is to be a believer. Why I feel that way? This is, Allah and God. You're in my belief who see it, right? Now I'm denying it, but I just saw it. I saw it in order to deny it.
You saw the universe, didn't you?
Yes.
The physics of the universe.
Yes. Yes. So
Call it whatever you want.
I believe that there are no atheists in this world.
Well,
From that perspective, from that little perspective, you can only deny something that you know is there. You cannot deny something.
You may not know what's there, but something's there.
Yeah.
Yeah. The mystery of the curse of being blessed with the intelligence we have as humans.
Absolutely.
That's
right.
So you come to here in
above,
America.
Above the, see, other things that Allah or God, you can say, had created. Animals. We're superior to animals. We have intellect. We are more important. Our lives are more important. My life, your life, and every single individual out there's life is very important and blessed. But when it comes to an animal, we have in my faith, we sacrifice them. If you lose one calf, there's always another calf. But then, do you understand?
Well, that's
This is my little opinion here.
Well, this is your personal opinion, and you would have many people disagree.
Sure.
But we all have our way of. We can find the common ground that is your moral compass.
What makes things beautiful is we can learn to disagree. We can agree that we disagree.
Well, yes, and that statement, sometimes as trite as it sounds, I find it nowadays very hard for people to sit and listen to another's opinion and sit and listen to it with an open mind and engage in critical thinking.
Yes.
I'm all for emotion. After all, I'm all for passion and emotion. Half of me is Italian. There's nothing about an Italian that isn't emotional sometimes.
Absolutely.
Emotion is good, but we put aside critical thinking and thinking for ourselves only to buy into the pure emotion of a situation, and you can't then have a philosophical or Socratic conversation as Socrates did. Questions, answers. I just had a question in my philosophy forum today that asked, can you prove anything objectively in this world without emotion? Yes, the physics of the universe. How's that? It doesn't get more objective than it gets. The pure physics of the universe and how the universe goes. What else would you want me to say? But can you love? Can you do something more than that without some emotion? We're a combination of both. So, but please, but I asked you about how you reconcile caring for your children, being a Muslim woman, being a woman, a mother first, all this, and you mentioned your belief. I'd like you to still move on that vein, if you can.
I guess I really need to think about that in terms of, if I get the gist, about raising my children as an Islamic woman and mother.
Yes.
In this country.
How do you separate that you want to do other things and you're going to be away from them?
Oh, okay.
See what I mean?
Yes,
and then
yes,
you're leaving them.
like,
yes.
Yeah,
how do you do that? That's hard for women. It is a struggle. I've left my child.
And then we're gonna go back to the husband perspective of it all.
Yes.
My husband is my backup. He takes care of the children.
He's part of it.
He's part of this. He encourages me to come out and speak and to meet with you and to accept these political endeavors.
A Muslim man doing that?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
From Islam? Islam? Oh heavens. Oh, I mean, nobody. You see the common thing people just don't believe, how their thinking is.
As long as there's a balance, and I'm,
Right.
every few months or weeks or so, he'll have,
You'll do
he'll
for
have
him.
this,
Yes.
He'll have this perspective, and he's very open about it because this is intellectualism. He's a very intelligent man. He's a doctor, a veterinarian. He studied veterinary sciences in Pakistan.
And that is not easy to become. That's one of the hardest doctors to even get into school in
right,
this country.
In this country over there, it's a little bit easier, but he's very intelligent. He took the other human doctor courses. He's very open-minded. But again, he's like me. He likes taking me to the studio, whether it's a radio station, TV station. He likes taking.
I've met him. He's a wonderfully gracious man.
Yes. He is.
Yes, a gentleman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Great.
this is. I have to tell you, this is so he is a helper. You know
Yes,
how many
yes.
years it took the American woman who was supposed to not, they look
Right.
at Muslim women that are repressed, and maybe some are in other countries, but they look at them. It took years for men to realize that they were going to be a helper along with their wives to raise children and all. There were, when I first got married, there were men that just didn't change diapers, men that just didn't take care of children.
Well,
That was what the women
he's
did.
extraordinary because he's intelligent. He's with the kids. He can change their diapers. He can take care of them, and it's great, And not to forget the intellect that he has and the freedom that he gives me, the good freedom of this society. Like I said, the higher freedoms, and it's going to be his support and his help if I do go into town hall and I run for a party, if I can have some time to get in and they can elect me, they can get to know me, they can know this is a strong Muslim woman coming in, she's got the education, she has the background, she's got a supportive husband who sends her out to do so like
Yes.
that, and so
And
so.
see, you said something interesting that didn't bother me, but it could bother others. You said that he allows me, but then again, you must allow some things from him. It is a give and take, isn't it?
Life is about that.
Yes,
Give and
he
take.
allows you. I don't find that word oppressive at all. My husband, let me say, my husband tolerates.
Okay.
He tolerates me. To be married to me, you have to be tolerant. But
For me, it's more of an allowance.
Yes.
Because of the kids, so we don't get tied down with that, more of an allowance to do some of the things that I want to do. Because, he's back there. He's allowing me to come out and speak with you for this show. And also, enough about the husband, the kids. The
Yes.
kids. I want to show my daughter Aliyah. I want to show her education in this country. She's a born citizen. She's a born citizen.
Absolutely. You want her to be a strong woman.
Right. I was not a born citizen. I came here and I got my naturalization in 2000. And from there, it just, I can't stop raving about how wonderful America is. And I
It's
also,
a role model.
Absolutely. And I'm saying that I want her as an American-born citizen to encounter these things like school education and, some kind of accelerated studies, something to look forward to. Maybe, tell her to go into a good profession, attorney at law, or to go, into medicine, or to have my son study. And I think that that's the prime reason that we, came to the States for an education, to become a professional in some way, shape, or form. I like media art. I like doing things on TV. I like doing things in the radio stations that I was doing before. Those things really give me, lots of a sense of pride. And he allows me to do that. And not only does my husband Muhammad allow me, he also helps me.
Oh.
He also helps me get there. And he gives me ideas. We have intellectual talks together. We have, we take care of the kids, and things are really good. And the stars and the moon and the planets are all aligning for me.
You came into. I believe we all come into this world, and we're given God-given talents, whatever they are, small. And if you follow your given talents, you can make a difference in this world.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you can enjoy your passion. You can enjoy the person that you very are.
Right.
You enjoy that, like your personality. You say that I have a strong personality. I'm opinionated. I like to the same. Yeah, and I think I can relate to that. I did a one woman show here too, and I could just go on for hours.
Sure, you could. I can tell. That's why we connected.
Yeah.
But being opinionated is a good thing, except that you need also to listen to others and not just think about your opinion where you need to a lot of opinionated people just feel their opinion is it, and if you don't agree, well, you're just nothing,
No. Because that's being very narrow-minded.
Of course.
If you don't absorb somebody else's intelligence, or if you don't absorb anybody else's advice or their opinions, how will you be able to decipher what the world is about? How will you able to know? Because I attribute to my professors at St. Joe's, my teachers. They're the ones who shape my mind this way.
Yeah, how will you know the truth, and how will the truth make you free?
And how will you get your education or have your mind shaped to know about, you can say, a Westerner knowing about Islam, or an Islamic knowing about, the West. How will you know if you don't interact with each other, you don't talk about it, you don't study about it? How would you know? How would you have that level of intelligence or understanding? I have that understanding of the Western society and the Western women. So maybe let's say, well, yeah, I understand that something she's saying, like the word allow. Some Western women say, oh my God, your husband allows you to do that?
Yeah.
So you know what I mean?
Right.
So I know that gist, but somebody else who may not have encountered that may not understand it. But if they try to understand it and try to learn it, then they'll understand, okay, so this is what we're talking, and this is what everything is about.
Well. This is exactly the situation. My mind wandered a little, and I wanted to tell you that I wanted to ask you a question. It'll come back to me, but what your points are very well taken. Oh, you mentioned Western civilization.
Sure.
Right now, some people are being told we should be embarrassed of Western civilization. To me, I was taught the value of the roots of Western civilization. Not that the other civilizations are, but we were taught those values and the founding through Greece and the philosophers of Today, it does worry me. And I think we should learn about all civilizations, okay? But it does worry me that maybe our colleges are not teaching Shakespeare anymore. They're not teaching we're not learning some of what we were called liberal arts.
Now, I studied liberal arts over at Southern. I studied Shakespeare 1, Shakespeare 2, and I took the courses, and I love Shakespeare. He's my favorite poet and author. Romanticism.
Oh, he was a master of the English language.
Absolutely.
And how he put
yes.
He was a genius.
A psychologist,
everything.
Everything rolled into one, and I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed American poetry. I enjoyed British poetry, and I took a lot of courses, and it's wonderful. I think that Western Civ, in terms of that, is wonderful to know. But then you gotta figure something out. It has to do with education. Yes. It has to do with education. Now, you've got Africa, you've got Asia, you've got, the Middle East. Now it depends. Now you have people within those regions who are educators. You have Al-Jabbar from Saudi, not Saudi, but around that Middle Eastern twist. Right. Then you have Copernicus. Then you have, then something totally against Christianity. You got Descartes. His philosophy. So it just means that whatever country won the track record, or whatever nation, now we have English established as that language because we won, that kind of thing. So whoever does the winning is who does the writing for the history.
Yes,
so
very
that's why,
good point.
Yes, so that's why Western Civ is evolved that way. Now, I was watching a documentary not long ago about Rome, and they said that they had the prism lights, the different types of sciences. They had the Caesareans. Like I said, I had 2 Caesareans. With both of them, they had the Caesareans.
From Julius Caesar.
From Julius Caesar. That's where it comes from.
And
it was, all around. So it's just now the West, won when it came to education. But then again, here's another thing. Some of the stuff that the Western Civ and the Western sciences consumed may have been stolen from Arabia, and then
of course, where Western civilization began, really.
Right, and there it is. Now,
Egypt,
it's been refined.
The Fertile Crescent.
Britain is refined with the best educational system. Oxford. America is refined with Yale being one of the best colleges in the country.
Right.
And from here to the coast, California, it's
Yale is Yale.
Yes. So that's why you know, we have Christianity is the central religion, although more and more Islam is spreading, even in the
Sure.
States.
Sure.
But Christianity is established. They have a calendar. December is Christmas. Halloween we've got. Thanksgiving we've got. So it's established.
It's
So
established.
is the language. You want to go into Turkey, say you want to take a tour of Turkey with your husband.
Somebody speaks English.
Yes, somebody out there is going to speak English to you guys and let you know, well, this is the bus for safari, this is for this is for travel, and they're going to tell you in English.
Sure.
They're going to
sure.
tell you in English.
Sure.
And
It's
that's how you
It's
communicate.
amazing. Well, we talked about this a little earlier before
You
the
meet
show
a
went on.
Turk. So you meet a Turkish man.
And I've
and
known
you-
a Turkish doctor who
and
spoke
yes.
English, yeah.
Yeah, and well, of course, you have to, doctors. You know, all around
Sure.
the world, English is so Christianity really is the primary religion, as well as the set standard by far. Years down the road, or decades and decades, we're going to probably see something else. But
That's
at this point,
quite possible.
and we're guessing that's probably going to be the sparks of Islam, because,
Well,
like
and
I said, we
people-
were
and
talking
of
about
course,
the
just-
masjids. We were talking about the cathedrals converting into masjids.
Sure.
So so yeah.
Yes,
Who
Aisha,
knows? Maybe
and-
one
and-
day
and-
everybody's going to be speaking Arabic.
We don't know.
We don't know.
And let me say this.
But the possibilities are
It's
there.
a possibility
Yeah.
there. And Aisha, it's the same as when we were talking before the show started. It's the
Yeah.
same
Yeah,
as
a
when
little
the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants who
Yeah.
were of English descent, as they said that some of them came over on the Mayflower.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right.
The first people here. Okay, other than the Native American, we always forget about the poor Native American. But
Well,
anyway,
we won't at Thanksgiving.
no, we won't at Thanksgiving.
Okay.
With the okay, but then what happened was my Greek and Italian grandparents came here, and there you had Roman Catholic churches, Greek Orthodox churches. Then Jewish people came. You had synagogues. We have now mosques. We have look. This is how, and usually the people that have been here first get a little threatened. Okay.
Of course.
Okay. And there's good and bad in every single people that come and go. You have to pick the criminals from the good people. You want to be safe no matter who you are. But let me say, that is the way it goes through the world. But I will tell you that when I learned Western Civ, we also learned about Egypt. We learned about the Fertile Crescent. We learned about Saudi Arabia. Now we didn't learn much about China. You'd have to go to college and take a course, but we learned about those things.
Housatonic Community Technical College,
Yeah.
Housatonic Community College in Bridgeport.
Yes.
That was one of the other colleges that I went to as well. And I took Western Civ. We talked about Islam. We did a report on Islam. We talked about Persia. We've talked about, of course, Europe, parts of Portugal, Spain, Britain, and it was all a mixture. We're all one. We spread from one. I still think I still have that theory that I like to call. My theory is that I think that we're all interrelated. We are all related because, like you said, in Western, you studied the whole plethora of countries, a bunch of countries, but now we're going to break off for about China. When I was at Fordham, I took a course in Chinese history, and that was really intriguing. So it's always good to understand. We taught Taoism, Chinese, and then again, we hit Islam again. One of the explorers, that's Kublai Khan. One of the
Khan, yes.
The Muslim Chinese, Islam is also in China too. He was the
Right.
first one to take his mother to the Hajj in Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been on the Hajj myself too. I took my grandmother. Twice.
The history of our world is so amazing.
Isn't it?
And what human beings have done. You reminded me of that one woman they call Lucy, that they believe was our direct ancestor of when man first, as one pope put it, when man first had a soul. Because, people say we were derived from an animal, but I think it's when human beings first evolved into having a soul and then speech.
Right. Right.
And so Lucy, they say, had that mutation in her mitochondria, in her cells, that caused her to start to reason and speak. Now, I mean, that's not going along with biblical or other scripture, but these are the scientists are saying this now.
Okay.
So maybe we did evolve all of that from that part of the world, even from how we began.
I believe so. The primal age. You're talking about the primal age.
Primal.
Yes. Yeah. The caveman age.
Yes.
The evolving age.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So, but for me, a little bit more after that, I like to look at it from this perspective, is that every single person here is related to one another.
Sure we
some
are.
way or form.
Well,
because
they're finding that in the DNA, aren't
they? Right.
Which I'm not about to share. I'm not about to share my DNA with anyone. So
no.
I'm not. I don't like. I think we're in a dangerous situation.
When we have children, we share our DNA with our partner to have children to come into
with
this
the world.
world.
I'm not about to give my DNA out to be tested.
Right. No. They're working on that.
Yeah.
There's like little you can say.
I interrupted you. I'm
no,
sorry.
it's okay. You like a soda machine. I saw that they do a collection of DNA in the soda machine to figure out some of the people are and what they're. But I think we're all related to, again, what I wanted to say is again about Europe, Italy. That was a very strong part of the world. If you really think about it, it really was, that when they had the immigration happen, when they had people fly into there, or even people come by boats, what are they going to, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to get their eat, drink, and reproduction.
Sure.
Reproduction. And the thing is that we're all mixed in that. I think that, later on religions are established.
Sure.
And things like that, Catholicism, Judaism, Islam, and all of that. But it's, you can look at it in a very political way right now. I'm not looking at it because usually we look at Islam, or I look at Islam, or the group of Muslims look at Islam, is that they think that, this is something very spiritual. This is something very spiritual. The Quran is spiritual. You don't take it, textually. So it's spiritual. But if you look at it, there are things, that are very, scientific or human-like. But I don't really agree with is wars. The holy wars we had, the crusades we had, the jihads we had.
Yes, even in the Old Testament.
In the Old Testament, it was.
And there was a lot of stuff that wasn't right, but it was human beings learning what was moral, learning what was good, and good to be in one with the universe or in one with God.
Right.
We talked about that.
But religions have a twofold to them, in my view. Is that one way they're into spirituality in prayer because we have the Holy Quran and the 5 prayers that we pray. Right? So usually Islam is looked more so in that perspective, but there isn't really that much room for, you could say, science, but at the same time, I think that science was created through, Allah and the universe.
I don't think you can separate them.
Right?
I think scientists have agreed that there is an unknown.
Right.
And, but what I would say to you is we start out as human beings, and here's the rub, and we all know this. We start out as human beings with the best of intentions.
Absolutely.
Beautiful religions with beautiful ideas.
Right.
But then the bad part of man comes in.
Right.
Who wants
the cruel part, the part
that starts to feel that you love your power, you love your possessions, that's the original sin, or whatever you want to call it, or whatever we're born with both of those in us. Okay, and they take a religion, beautiful religions, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, and those. And they turn it into what some people, how they want it to be to fit their narrative.
See, that's exactly what happens in Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. I see your point. Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Right,
they destroy it.
Right, they just are molding into things that wouldn't be considered that's
Abraham
something
is
that Allah or
weeping.
God would like.
Abraham is weeping,
Right.
Jesus is weeping,
Right.
and Muhammad is weeping. This is not what they wanted.
I know. And when you go to Saudi Arabia, even some of this, the stuff that they telecast and they put the speaker in the minaret, the imam is weeping.
Yes.
What is going on here? What is going on? Because the pilgrims at one time were really pilgrims and things were beautiful at one point, and now things are starting. I'm talking about the pilgrims within the Hajj and Saudi.
Those
pilgrims. Well, yeah, a pilgrimage for Islam is the Hajj.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
That's what I'm talking about, and that's where they're weeping.
You go to
to the mosque, to the
mosque.
Kaaba, to Medina. We spoke a little bit about this before,
yes,
and
to
they
go to
are also
Muhammad's
saying
tomb.
that Muhammad's resting place. I've been the distance between me and that curtain. That's how close I was to his resting place.
Right.
Yes, and yes, because the imam, and what imam is like a priest for the Islamic faith. Imam.
Right.
He's also weeping. He's saying that, like, what's going on in this world? What are Muslims doing? And what is,
that's right. Yeah. You've got those.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we have 5 more minutes, but I want to throw this thought out to you, a philosophical thought.
Okay.
Of if you go back in history, for centuries there have been human beings that have found that spot within themselves, within their souls, that is God or good. And they have given of themselves to their deaths for that.
Right here we say that Allah is so close to us that He rests right here in our Adam's apple.
Okay.
And I see that coming out of Christianity too, that you feel that way too.
Yes.
So
what,
this is a really interesting.
Aisha, what does the world do to those people? Jesus killed. Socrates killed. Martin Luther King Jr. killed. You can go on. Joan of Arc destroyed, because when you're a good person, you perceive to be ruining somebody else's power and greed and want. You go to your death for that, and then what happens? The same people that destroyed you put monuments up to you. Look at the United States. They were thinking Martin Luther King was a communist. Now he's got a statue in Washington. So, and I don't know much about Muhammad, but would Muhammad fit into that too, where he may have been persecuted for what he believed? I don't know.
He had to leave Mecca to go to Medina
in order to save himself and his faith. Yeah. So we destroy all that is good.
Yes, we do. Because we're cruel. Human nature is the cruelest nature. I'm telling you, animals are not even that cruel. Now, my husband's veterinarian, and we've talked, animals are not even that cruel. They, the way they take care of their young and so on. I'm talking about human nature and
out of instinct to survive, but they don't kill for hate or vengeance. That's right. We were given the knowledge of good and evil.
And that's what happens. And even if you take it on a smaller level, artists. At first, nobody really recognizes them during their time as much as they do after their time.
No. Look at poor Van Gogh. He couldn't sell a thing. They thought he was the lunatic, and his mother hated his own mother hated his art. Poor thing. Speaking about that, let me say something quickly. We have 5 minutes, and I wanted to say something about my granddaughter very quickly. She is 14 years old, and we talked about role models with our daughters. Well, I never had daughters, sons, but my granddaughter's 14. She is running for president of her middle school in the art program, president of the artist program, or the people in her art group. And she's neck and neck with someone, so I want to wish Olivia good luck no matter how this turns out. I taught her, she has wonderful women role models around her, and you always keep trying.
Absolutely.
It doesn't work the first time sometimes, but it works. But now I want to hear your final thoughts.
My final thoughts is that I I'm really, really enlightened, and I really love spending time with you in the studio and our viewers who are watching us. And I like to put out what we put out: intellect, insight, understanding. And I think that there's nothing above than that we share. And I think that we ought to try to focus to make the world a better place. And
well, maybe, Aisha, we can as
right,
two women.
Right. I believe so. I believe so. I find that in this, and I know that this has gained popularity, and people are following us in terms of, you will say, the internet and the also the the viewers.
Well, I was
I think
surprised that you found it on the internet.
Right.
Us on the internet.
Right, on the internet, and with Comcast, this facility that's been so great, this cable company that's been around for a while, and this is great. This is great.
Well, it's amazing.
It is amazing, and I think it's more popularity to be on the internet like that, and to express our views, and really get out there and do what we can. And I think that's I would
great.
like another show, and
let's
get good going here. Let's call it good going.
Good going.
Yeah.
And we have one more minute,
Yeah.
and not to resist the last word, I suspect that you and I don't agree on everything. But I suspect we have a lot of common ground in that we are human, and that we are sharing some of our common ground.
Kathy?
I think this is great.
Kathy, let me tell you something. Some of the things you're saying, I'm bilingual and bicultural. So some of the stuff that you say from your religion and your culture, I know it. I can adhere to it. I can understand it. I can know it. I can feel it, because I was raised here, and I know the Western movement, and I know the Catholic Christianity, and even Judaism.
Okay.
And so I think that there's a lot more I found, similarities into this, having an interview with you today.
Okay, so we got to stop in a minute, and there are similarities, and
more so, I'm finding more and more of them as we speak.
And we don't have to. You see, this is what's happened in politics. People get too upset over it, over the political banter that goes on. Again, we're human beings, and we have a lot in common. I want you to say goodbye to our studio right now.
Right.
Say goodbye.
All right. Thank you for having me, everybody.
Okay.
Bye.
Look at me, because he'll get you on camera. She's waving goodbye, and you know what? We're going to come together here.
Right.
Come over this side and look into that camera with me. Let's see if we can get closer. I'm Kathy Johnson, saying good evening, good day, have a good evening, and a better tomorrow. I'm here with Aisha. Two women, two strong women. Take care.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.